So welcome everybody. What we're going to be doing today is talking about what makes a good conference poster. I'm Nikki Davey. I'm joined by Sarah Cutler and Addy. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves first, and then I'm going to lead the first bit, and they're going to do the sort of more jazzy, exciting, interactive second bit. So do you want to introduce yourself, Sarah and Addy? And I'm just going to take the spotlight off while you do that.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Cutler. I'm a lead improvement coach at Coventry and Warwickshire Partnership Trust.
Hi, I'm Addy Parkinson, and I'm also a lead improvement coach as part of Coventry and Warwickshire Partnership Trust.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much. I'm Nikki Davey. I'm founder of Quick Learn. I've worked in the NHS for the majority of my career and in quality improvement for the past, I think 15 or 16 years. I'm going to host the first part, and then I'm going to hand over to our colleagues to do the second part. So let me just there we go. So what makes a good conference poster, and who do I think I am to share with you those top tips? Well, I've taught hundreds of people quality improvement, and every year we produce a huge haul of posters which we take off to conferences with our learners. They get shortlisted, they get their abstracts accepted, they have a high rate of winning prizes and getting speaker slots and stuff like that. So I've kind of been with the whole thing about how you look at posters and how you present them and what conferences are looking for, because I shortlist as well for some things. Yeah, so I'm going to about 20 minutes and I'm going to hand over to them. Any questions put in chat. Sarah and Addy are going to look out for them. Hand up, butt in, it's fine. I'm really used to teaching in an interactive way, but I am going to be going kind of super fast through the first bit, because either this is things you really haven't really thought about before and that you might feel a bit overwhelmed because there's so many aspects you could think about when you're doing a poster, or it's stuff you know, so you can then watch again if you want to kind of take it through a bit more slowly, or you can just interrupt. And if you have any top tips that I've missed, please put them in as well. So this is what I'm going to be covering. So be clear before you start on doing a poster. What's your aim? Who's your target audience? What's the method and or topic or focus? What's your reach? What's your style? What headings should you consider? And I've got 10 top tips, and then I'll talk a little bit about a quick matrix I've done about opportunities to showcase your work in the next year, and a poster gallery link that I can give you so you can see some great examples. So starting off with what's your aim, which is kind of an important question in improvement work. And here are some of the reasons why people might want to produce a poster. So you may just want to share your story because you're proud of it, but actually you might want to engage more people in that story. And so you're showcasing it because you want to bring more people on board. You might be after a prize or an award, kind of recognition. You might want to raise your own personal profile. You might want to add it to your CV. But organisationally as well, it might be a requirement either for your curriculum if you're in a training role, or lots of trusts kind of want to put this forward to CQC for evidence that they are fully engaged in quality improvement. You might want to secure further funding. So I heard a presentation earlier this week from one of the presentations where they were going to be looking for further funding to continue the project or to spread it further. So there's lots of reasons why you might want to do it. But at the end of the day, the reason will determine your personal motivation. How much skin in the game have you got to put into this? How much effort are you going to put in? How much are you going to attend to getting your message across? Because at the end of the day, we have to think of a poster as being about the audience. So I always say to people, think about what the audience wants to receive, not what you want to throw at them. Okay, it's quite a different thing. You're writing it, but somebody else is going to read it or not. So if you're going to put that effort in, you need to think about that. So then who's your target audience? You know, it could be everyone and anyone, but it could be a very specific group of people that you want to get the message across to. And again, that is going to determine the shape and nature of the message that you're going to give. So, you know, if you're aiming for academics, that's very different than if you're aiming for managers, for example, or clinicians. Some clinicians will love the academic style, others will not. So you need to be kind of quite mindful, and educators will be looking for a completely different thing altogether as well. So if you go to some of the educators conference, you'll find quite a different flavor actually of the things they look for in their posters that they have there. So what's the method? What's your method you're going to be using, you're going to be sharing, that you've used for whatever the work is that you've done? Usually this is predominantly, I'm focusing on quality stuff. So what's the method you've used to try and bring quality to what you're doing? And you do need to have some sort of clarity about the method you're using when you build your poster, because it'll affect the style you use, it'll affect which conference you go to, it'll affect your language, it'll affect your flow and navigation of the poster. And then the other sort of, I think, linked topic there is the topic. So is it a topic that's everyone's? You know, is it generalist? Is it kind of specialist, maybe a particular clinical area? So is it cardiology or psychiatry or pediatrics? Or is it a bit niche, you know? So is it a kind of thing that people are beginning to think about but haven't really explored so much? You know, I think AI is still a bit niche, but it's becoming a bit more mainstream, as an example. And rare breed, you know, I work with organizations that do things around inherited diseases, rare inherited diseases. Well, it's only going to be a really small group of people you're going to be talking to about that, but they're also going to be a very motivated group of people, because they probably only get one shot at a conference a year that talks about their specific condition. So it's another layer to it. So that determines which conference, if you're taking it to a conference or a publication, that you'll go for. Here we go then. So form follows function. So I've used these 3 examples to just illustrate that. And I know they've got another slightly different example in the next presentation as well. But I've just picked 3 posters that are kind of research focused, quality improvement focused, and audit focused. So you can see on the left-hand side that the research one is really text heavy. It's got some serious graphs with statistics in them. And you're probably going to have to get quite close to that poster at a conference to kind of crawl all over it to really read what they've written. The one in the middle is a quality improvement piece, and it's got a number of features which personally I think are key features for quality improvement projects. So it's got some diagnostics, it's got an aim, it's got measures, it's got change ideas, it's got a run chart, and it's got PDSA cycles in it. And then on the right hand side you've got an audit one, which tends to be sometimes a bit of a in between. So quite often people who do audit also have done research, so you kind of get that slightly text heavy piece, and then you get usually a graph, a before and after graph of some sort. I'm just going to mention this is a pie chart. It's an okay pie chart because it's only got 2 items shown on each one. But I am not a fan of the pie chart because when you've got lots of little segments, you can't read any of it on it, and it makes your brain hurt watching it. So they're not very helpful as a scientist. For human cognition, they're really bad news, but they look pretty, so people tend to use them, and they come with lots of packages, don't they? So that determines the design. So where you're going to what the kind of topic is, what the methodology is, determines the conference and also the design of your poster. And some places will be very prescribed about that as well. What I just want to highlight here, pies are for eating, not charting. I love that saying. Thank you. That is fantastic. Absolutely. On the right hand side here of these posters, on the middle one you can see, but also slightly on the one on the right, you have what we call a right justified logo. Now, if you're working in organizations, most organizations will have brand guidelines, and you can see with Addy and Sarah, their logos are what we call right justified. They're on the right and they are right justified. Trusts usually have a different rule for reports, which is the logo is often left justified and on the left hand side of a report. But on the right hand side, a poster, your logo for your organization looks good. So make sure it's high resolution and make sure it's right justified. It looks tidy and balanced, which the eye likes. Eyes like that. So then the next question is, what's your reach? That determines a few things. Quite a lot of things actually. It determines perhaps how much time you spend on it. but also it will determine the spread to some extent. So if you're going big across the world, you may be going for sort of spreading it, the idea and the message far and wide, but you probably won't see that spread have traction. But if you're doing a team and department piece, you would hope to be able to see the impact of having that conversation and sharing that work. They can be a bit more informal at the team level. Once you start doing organizational ones, you sometimes get into this branding stuff and we do our poster like this, therefore you will. I find that a little bit constraining sometimes, because in quality improvement, there's quite a few different methodologies and the way you articulate those methods vary. So if you're using A3 and lean, it's different than if you're using the model for improvement. So if you try and cram everybody into one, it doesn't really work very well. When you're starting to get country and particularly worldwide, you need to attend to a lot more things around language. So as soon as you move away from your immediate tribe, you should not be using abbreviations of almost any sort, because they will be misunderstood by somebody who's reading your poster, or they won't know what it means, so they won't bother reading it anymore because I just jargon. I don't understand this. I'm not reading it. But when you're talking about a worldwide audience, you know, a typical thing I see is people writing about the IT system they use, and they say, oh, so we used Epic, or we used Badger or BadgerNet. And I'm like, an international person will not know what that is. You need to say, we use the Epic information system or computer record, you know, and you need to say, try and make the language much simpler. So you don't want to use complex technical terms when a simple one would do. So, and you need to keep the sentences really short and stuff like that. So your reach also determines a lot of stuff you're thinking about. And then what's your style? I like this one because, you know, we all have different styles, don't we? There's the cartoon style, there's the zany style, there's the stylish style. Now, I think you have to be a bit careful about the stylish style. Sometimes I see what I call style over substance. I see these posters which look very glamorous, and then I start looking at them and thinking, God, you know, there's really nothing on there of value or weight or anything. But you're drawn to it because it's pretty. And then techie, you know, lots more use of QR codes, but I'm sure in the future there will be a lot more interactive posters starting to happen and things like that. That's quite far in advance, but I think we'll see some technology coming into that. You might want to be perceived as very serious, so you might want to just keep it much more, just going to say it as it is, and I'm not going to have pictures because I'm a very serious person and I don't want people to think I'm frivolous. You know, different perceptions really. The one I really like is the human one, because when you're telling a story for improvement work, you want to win the hearts and minds, and usually you are talking about patients, something to do with patients. And yet I see lots of posters that do not have a patient in sight. They don't necessarily have any engagement with patients when they've been doing the work. They don't show any pictures of patients. And they don't have to be pretty pictures of patients. They can be screaming, crying people. They can be people in misery. That's all right. It will attract attention. Yeah. It will give people the essence of, I'm trying to sort out this pain that people are feeling. It does not always have to be, you know, the airbrushed thing. And then text, you know, not my favorite. But this influences whether your audiences are engaged with what you're doing. There's no right or wrong, but it's about thinking about what you're doing when you're doing it. So let's move on. Am I right for time? Just checking. Yes. Okay. So headings to navigate the flow. So a good general rule, you know, people say what, why, how, what happened, and what next. And a scientific one would be introduction, methods, results, discussion, and conclusion about those. With quality improvement, I think it's quite useful to give people a bit more navigation, because we often have these small bite-sized pieces that are used to build quality improvement. It's not big chunks, it's in little pieces, and you want to join them together. So background and problem. Evidence, people often do posters where they put the national evidence in, but they don't say what it's like where they work. Okay, the thing that matters to me is what's it like where you work. You know, the national standard might say this, the national audit might tell us that, but what's it like where you are? That's the thing I'm interested in. And the diagnostics will help you build that picture and tell that story. And then kind of what method are you using? You know, logic model, that's kind of often it's a driver diagram you're using to describe the approach you've used. You might be using lean and A3. I see quite a lot of muddling up between A3 and model for improvement. in terms of people's approaches. And then model for improvement is my kind of go-to one, although I will embrace all methods that have measurement in them. Model for improvement, aim, measures, change ideas, test the change, run chart, analysis, conclusion, and learning and next steps. And people, again, I see people doing run charts, but not referencing the stats in a run chart. And they are simple stats, but the whole point of doing the run chart is to tell you whether or not you've achieved your aim. And I thought, oh, somebody's missed that out quite a lot. So this supports your readers, and this is where you can use numbers to help people navigate. When you're using numbers for titles to help people navigate, left justify the heading in the box. Our brains work better left to right apart from the title in your poster. And don't use numbers when they're not relevant. Okay, so I sometimes see people when they could do a bullet point putting numbers down, unless it's step 1, 2, 3, as it is when you're running your poster through, don't do it. Or you can use arrows. You don't need to have the numbers to help people navigate around a poster. So there's some headings and flow things. So these are my top tips for design. A catchy project title. Don't bore me reading it. You know, you're in a conference hall, right? And you're going, what do I look at? Where am I going to go? The big title, all right? Let me see whether that attracts my attention. And you can have a subtext underneath it. That's fine. But, you know, give it a bit of a punch. Bold font centralized. Alignment, all the rest left justified apart from the logo. And that's because our brains in the Western world read left to right, and you start putting things hanging midway in the air, you lose it. And use these bullet points where possible. Authorship, recognize the people who've contributed to the writing of it or the creating of the work. Acknowledge anybody else who's helped you along the way at the bottom. Use color that is pleasing to the eye and not overdone. Okay, if you're using jarring colors, you're using it for a specific reason to attract people to a specific place on your poster, not making it look like you've got a tutti frutti everywhere, bright colors in every background box. It's just too much. So the contrast between your background and your text should be sharp. And there are, if you go on to readability guidelines, there are certain things that people know aren't good. So red writing, difficult on most backgrounds. Blue writing, actually quite difficult for people who have readability issues. Yellow on blue looks fine on a screen, looks rubbish on a poster. You know, so you need to think about some of the colors. And if you overuse these strong backgrounds in your poster, that white space disappears and it just kind of bombards the senses. High resolution images, human interest if possible, definitely legal. Okay, do not use Getty Images. They will sue you, and they do cost hundreds, if not thousands of pounds to buy. So just don't use them. You can use Unsplash or Pixby, and you can attribute. Increasingly, Unsplash has ones that are locked and you have to buy through Shutterstock. But if you want to buy a bundle of 5 pictures, it's not that expensive. If you've got a new PowerPoint package, you'll find that you've got some great pictures that are free that you can get if you look at their library of pictures, which is great. And if you work in a trust, you can get some pictures off your comms team, but they tend to be a bit pretty. They're always smiling. They're never crying. And just like, sometimes prettiness and beauty isn't always what healthcare is about. Text size, the maximum you can manage, but readable. Font and lettering, don't get crazy with them unless it's for your title, and keep the good spacing between the lines. Average viewer spends definitely less than 60 seconds engaging in a poster, and not a lot more than 60 seconds reading it. If I'm at a conference, if there's something that interests me enough, I will take a photograph of it so I can read it later or look on the conference thing. Sometimes I'll stay there for a couple of minutes if it's really super good, but that's the reality of your poster impact. Might be different at research conferences, I don't know. And then I don't do this, I haven't been doing this with our learners, but include your contact details, because I think that's a good way for helping spread and engagement and handover. This is an opportunity matrix. You can take a photograph of it if you want. It's just some conferences coming up, when the event is, when the deadline for abstracts are. Learning from Excellence is in 2 days' time, so you need to get your skates on if you want to do that. whether you can have a speaker slot available for oral presentation, useful challenge, whether they publish it anywhere, and whether there are any prizes offered. So it's worth thinking about what's out there. And if you want some inspiration, we have about 250 or 300 posters in this gallery. A lot of them are pediatrics and maternal and child health, but there's emergency medicine, respiratory, dietitians, physio, pharmacists, that sort of stuff in there. So you could use that QR code if you want to have a quick look. Or you can type in quicklearn.com/post QI and then look at our poster gallery. And we have a little filter on it for different things under posters. So I'm going to stop there because that was really super fast, but not fast enough.
Thanks, Nikki. That was really good. So we're going to take you through how to create a hopefully winning QI poster. We'll give you a few of our top tips. So to start off with, we're going to have a bit of engagement in the chat, hopefully. So which of these posters grabs your attention the most? So which one of these would you stop and look at a conference? So if you can put A or B, and if you can put Y as well.
Okay, we've had quite a few Bs, but a couple of A where people are saying they're drawn to the data.
Yeah, I did wonder that.
Yeah.
There's a PC chart in there. I wondered if that might make people look.
Colour and engaging as the
yeah, looks attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And different shapes.
Yeah.
So yeah, B, engaging illustrations, but love data too there.
Yeah, so some people are saying they would normally like the data in the first one, but the layout's a bit kind of cramped and a bit snug.
Yeah. Oh, and speech bubbles as well. Yeah. Yeah, a few different opinions there, but I suppose the majority, I think, are going for B, which is kind of the brighter one, with a lot more going on, although it doesn't always turn everybody on if they don't like too much there. Thanks, everyone. So we're going to have a bit more of a look at what makes posters stand out. So we'll give you a little bit of a background to us to start with. So my background's clinical audit. So I've been working in clinical audit for a really, really long time. And I was struggling to make projects look exciting. I was spending hours faffing around with Publisher, trying to sort of make things look nice on PowerPoint, because I kind of appreciated people didn't really want a full Word document with everything in there all the time. Sometimes they just wanted the key points of the project to be able to share. But I was really struggling to make them look nice easily. Then in 2019, along came Addie. So she joined the team and introduced us to the magical world of Canva. So we started producing infographics using Canva for our audit projects, first of all, which the teams absolutely loved. And then for Clinical Audit Awareness Week back in 2019, we produced loads of different infographics for our staff. So stuff about projects, stuff about our team. We emailed them out every day during the week. It did result in our access to all user emails being stopped, but we won't talk about that now. So in 2019, Addie nominated me for the Local Clinical Audit Professional of the Year, which was a HQIP Audit Heroes Award. And I won it for creativity in presenting audit findings in a digestible and engaging format. And our team also won the NQI Can Sharing Successes Award for bold infographics that help to improve the quality of care offered to patients. So this inspired us to continue. We used Canva wherever we could to advertise our team, but mostly to highlight the key points of projects in a way that clinical teams could easily digest and that they actually wanted to look at. And then we merged with quality improvement in 2021, and we realised that our Canva skills fitted in perfectly with the creative QI world. So we showed the rest of the team how to use Canva, and when we created our new strategy in 2023, we came up with our own distinctive brand and templates as the newly named improvement team. And since then, we've been shortlisted for and won quite a few competitions, which Addie's going to share with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so this first poster it was around implementing improvement boards on our LD&A wards, and this won the 2025 AMAP poster conference competition earlier this year. And Laura, our colleague, is actually on the call as well. She's the one that led on the project. So yeah, big congratulations to her. She's also been shortlisted for our Trusts Q Award this year as well. We've got this one, which is a bit of a combination actually of a few different projects that happened, but we kind of combined it all into one poster because it uses the same methodology and the kind of way that we presented it. And we did it this way because we've been shortlisted for the HSJ Patient Safety Awards. So we'll actually find out on Monday. We're going up for a kind of team outing up to Manchester on Monday to find out if we've won at the award ceremony. So that'll be exciting. And then we've also got this one, which is around neonatal occupational therapy, and that's one of our colleagues, Sarah Willis. She's been shortlisted for the main HSJ Awards in November for this poster, and she's also already won the HQIP Clinical Audit Hero Award and also the HSJ Patient Safety Congress poster competition, which is quite a mouthful, but she's won that one as well. So that's been a really successful project. And then one more success story, I suppose. We've got one of our nurses, Claire Stickles, who's been nominated for a Nursing Times Award. And this is the project that we lovingly call the Poo Project, because it's around improving awareness of bowel movements and things in our LD&A patients. So we don't always get these posters right first time. You know, I know these kind of examples look nice and shiny and engaging, but there was quite a few different iterations of them that we do collaboratively as a team as well. So we kind of use that PDSA approach in getting them right. And like Nikki said, thinking about our audience, where it's going, who's seeing it, and things like that. So yeah. Okay, so we're kind of going to go into now maybe thinking about how you can make a poster instantly recognizable as one of your QI projects. So if people saw kind of a poster at a conference, could they easily tell that it was from your team or organization? So a good way of doing this is branding, which we'll come on to in a second, but extra points if you can name all of the brands. You can see here, I'll let that people just pop that into the chat, but I will move on because I'm just conscious of time as well. But we are really conscious and we're really kind of heavy on advocating for your own branding and templates. So we are quite a small team, but even if you're kind of working alone or part of a bigger team, using set branding where you've got the same fonts, kind of branding colours, logos, and having a kind of basic template that all of your posters kind of can start from will help make sure that your projects and your team and your organisation get noticed. So you probably saw with those 4 projects that we've just shown you, kind of like quite a cohesion, and you could clearly tell perhaps that it was built by us, but each one of those was built by a different member in the team. So they've all kind of started from this poster template, and then a bit like Nikki said earlier as well, we've kind of tweaked and adapted them depending on what part of the QI methodology we're showcasing as well. And this is where we find Canva the easiest place to kind of create and save your branding. You can create a team on Canva, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail in a moment. Oh, I've not moved the right one along there. There you go.
Okay, so when you create an improvement project poster template, you can make it look however you like according to your own branding. But there are certain sort of basic elements that should be included that Nikki's already talked about. So as she said, they might change slightly depending on if there are certain requirements for your audience. But having a template with the basics makes it a lot easier for teams to think about what to include and for you to start setting out your poster in a way that makes people want to read it. So this is the template that we use. The aim is to sort of get the message across with as little text as possible. So the more charts and images and things you can use, the better, while still keeping all of the information that you need about your project. So we tend to start them off quite wordy. We might ask the teams to kind of fill in the information they want, and then we'll kind of try and reduce it down and make a few tweaks. And once you've got the basics, you can then start to add in the exciting bits. So examples of your own process maps, fishbone diagrams, photos to really get that human side of the story across. And then you've also got your Canva graphics. So there are loads and loads of these to choose from. And we've actually started to include characters in some of our posters. So we have like a little world for projects that are related to environmental sustainability. We have a blood drop to show improvements in blood testing, and then we've got flow for any projects that are related to flow. So it really depends on the project and your imagination and what you want to include. But yeah, there's a few examples there to have a look at.
Yeah.
So it's all well and good as telling you about all of this, but you probably want to see how it actually works in practice. So we're going to attempt to build a poster together in Canva.
Yes, so bear with us because we've never really done this before, but we're going to try. So just, I suppose, to give you a bit of background for those that haven't used Canva before, this is the kind of builder page. It might look scary, it might look like there's a lot of buttons, but I find it actually is really user friendly, and we've got some links to share at the end around kind of how you can access it and some training and things like that. But this is kind of our standard template that we're going to use today. This is what we might send out to the project lead to kind of get all those bits of information that we might want. So kind of touching all those points that Nikki said about as well, and getting all those bits in there, and then it might come back to us and then we look at maybe jazzing it up a bit more, or the project lead is free to do that as well. I touched earlier on branding. You can see down the left-hand side here, we are actually set up as a team on Canva. So we've all got everyone in our team in our nice pink t-shirts has all got an individual account, but we're all linked together as a team. So that allows us to access our brand kit, which has got things like our templates in. So you can see up here, you've got like our background that we've got. So we know we're all working from the same background. We've got our project template, which you saw a little bit earlier on, which there's a lot more colourful than this, but we've kind of done it that way. Then we've got all our logos, so our kind of team logos, we've got our trust logos and things like that. And then we've also set our branding colours. It means that we're all working with exactly the same shade of oranges, pinks and things like that. And then we've got our trust colours here as well. So we've got our NHS blue and things like that. And again, the fonts. So it kind of all stays cohesive then. So although it might be a different person creating the poster, it's all got that cohesive way of looking. So we're kind of hoping to do a bit of a choose your own adventure today as we go. So imagine we've sent this off to someone, but we first of all want to get your ideas on what type of project we're going to do. So we've got two that we made earlier. We've got one that's around, was it the tea wards, the tea break?
Yeah, or biscuits. So we've got the tea round transformation or the Great Biscuit debate. So we've got two choices of posters. So if you want to put tea or biscuits into the chat, that'll help us to decide which poster we're going to create. So we've got 3 biscuits and a tea. Oh, there's a lot of biscuits coming up.
Well, we thought biscuits would be popular, but you can't have biscuits without tea. That's the point. What comes first, the tea or the biscuits?
So there are a few teas, but I do think the biscuits are winning.
Okay.
Let's go biscuits.
Let's go biscuits. Right. So in true Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. Imagine I've sent this off to our project lead and they've sent it back. And it's come back here. It's got a lot of good information in. It's got their project aim. It's got their project title. It's got a really nice kind of summary and background. So, they're telling us that the staff wellbeing is shaped not only by the workload and environment, but also in those small comforts that punctuate the day, like a good biscuit. It's got all their change ideas in there. It's got a nice fishbone diagram that they've used. And then it's got their kind of measures and some of the outcomes as well. And there's even some staff feedback here. But is it engaging? Does it look exciting to you? Is it something that you're going to kind of walk past maybe when you're at a conference? So what are maybe some of the first things that you could spot that we could improve upon? What can we make better? I'll ask you just to pop in a colour exactly. Yeah. So I'm really quickly going to be changing these kind of things as we go. So I'm going to go into, you can click on the kind of box around the side, and then this edit bar comes up the top. So we've got our kind of colour around the box here. So this brings up, you'll see it brings up again my brand colours. So it's got all my branded colours here, but it's also picking up on the logos and the photos that are already in here. So we've chucked the kind of QI week logo in here. So it might be nice to kind of stick to those colours. So it's already kind of picked those out. It's got exactly the right shades and everything like that. So I'm just going to go around and change all the boxes and just make it a little bit more interesting. And then what's kind of next? What else do you think we could do? Oh, where'd that go?
I'm thinking we could have a more exciting title, maybe, if anybody's got any ideas.
Maybe. Has anyone got any bright ideas around what
changes?
What that could be?
Oh, taking the biscuit.
Love it. I love that. The perfect dunker.
Yeah, Lynn said we need some illustrations. I agree.
Yes.
Oh, the perfect dunker. That's also.
I like that.
Munching and crunching.
That's good.
This is great. Okay, I'll let you pick, Addie. You can choose.
I think I quite like taking the biscuit, you know. Yeah. We'll go with that.
Okay.
So I'll leave that in there.
And also, you might not like the font that we've used, so we could change that, which is kind of easy to do. Another thing that you can do on Canva is you can work collaboratively. So Addie's got this open, but I have as well. So I can come onto the poster and I can also work on it at the same time. So I don't know if you can, you can see my name there floating around. That's me. So
that's it.
if you get together on a Teams meeting and you're both working on trying to sort of improve a poster, you can do it together.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna fill up this box a bit more. So that we've got, it just fills it up a little bit more. And then one of the key things that we've actually missed is we don't have anyone who's done the project.
So you need to think of a name now.
Oh, yeah, I have to come up with the
Mr. McVitie.
Yes. Dr. McVitie.
Doctor, yes.
Is that how you spell McVitie?
Okay, I think we need some pictures now.
Okay, right then. So this is where it gets exciting. So you can come into Elements on the left-hand side here, and then you can basically search with any kind of keyword that you think. So obviously we've got a poster around biscuits. So the first thing I'm probably going to put in is biscuit. And then it's really clever. It breaks it down into, you've got graphics, which are more kind of like your cartoony style things. It has also got a whole suite of photos as well, which are free to use. And they've also got videos and things as well. We're very much in that kind of cartoony style that Nikki mentioned earlier. So we kind of tend to use graphics and stuff. If we use photos like you saw in some of the other posters, they're from like the photos that we've taken from staff using improvement boards or patients on wards and things. So has anybody got any preference of what
the star one?
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? So we're gonna have to see where we can try and fit that in now. Are you thinking about getting it in here, Sarah?
Oh, maybe, yeah. That could be good.
Get it in there. Or
I was just,
maybe our star should be part of our outcomes because it's like a bit,
yeah, Tracy wants a jammy dodger.
absolutely.
Yeah,
2 jammy dodgers, or let's go with 2 jammy
mod.
dodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, very big.
Ooh, big jammy dodgers.
Big jammy dodgers, yeah.
Oh, and we've had a request for some charts for our outcomes.
There's some charts, right? Okay, let's do that quickly then. So
I'll add in some more biscuits.
you do some more biscuiting. So again, in the elements, before you even type in a keyword, it's got a lot of useful things that you can look at as well. And if you scroll down, I mean, there's all sorts of things like stickers, photos, videos. We get very carried away each year. In our team, we have a Christmas MS Teams background competition that we do, and we tend to use kind of moving things like this. Sarah last year had Santa swinging his sack in the background of hers, so it got a bit exciting. But there's also a charts feature, so this is really useful. If you click on see all, so you can do all sorts of kind of bar charts, line charts, pie charts, or donuts, which again are probably better for eating rather than charting. But there's also a really nice one down here that's around kind of like your infographics. So it's your kind of progress of how things are doing. But it's also quite good then for if you've got a percentage of patients or things like that, or things. So we're gonna just choose this one today, and we'll probably go with. We've got 42% down here of our staff were satisfied with the biscuit options, and then that changed to 91%. So I've got my 10 people here, which are my staff. You can choose any of these icons as well. Unfortunately, there's not a biscuit option that we can have, so we'll stick with the person today. So if we stick with 10 people, then it's really easy for me to go, I want to fill 4.2, which is 42%, and then that kind of fills it in there. You can then choose your different colours, so I'm probably going to make that just a little bit more obvious, the difference. Go with that one out of that one. So we've got, that shows our original outcome. So we've got 41% of patients, and then that changed to 91%. So a really easy way just to do that is to just copy and paste, same again, and then I can edit it. So that makes sure that it's, it's exactly the same size, and things like that. And now I've got 9. So that's a really nice, clean, easy way to show that kind of improvement and difference. So we'll try and just make those a little bit neater. But we probably are going to want some numbers against that as well, because as nice as our little people are. And you'll see as well, when you're kind of moving things around on Canva, it does all these kind of linear lines and things like that. So it helps you kind of like snap things together and make sure everything's lined up nicely. I am conscious of time, so we could probably faff around on here all day.
Yeah, we end up down a Canva rabbit hole quite a lot, don't we?
So I'm just what we'll try and do is we'll just try and make this outcomes option a little bit, outcomes box a little bit better. So do you want to maybe look at some speech bubbles for the staff feedback, Sarah, and we can make this outcomes a bit bigger? So just bear with us.
Here we go. Is that the right colour?
It's quite a nice colour.
There we go. That fits in a bit better. So you can kind of layer things, and then change your colours to make things fit a bit better. Make it a bit bigger so we can see what they're saying. Oh no, that doesn't fit very well. And then I can just copy and paste.
Make it white to make it pop a bit.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Let's see. Oh yeah, that's good. And then you can flip things as well and make them go the other way. yeah. So yeah, you can just play around for a long time on things like this, and get them looking really good.
Yeah. So you can see down here I've kind of put in some numbers before. So what we tend to do as well is we tend to just kind of bold out the numbers or the dates. So again, like Nikki said, that if you've got numbers as your bullets, then that's where it does get a little bit confusing. Because like Nikki said, when you're looking at a poster, you're normally only looking at it for a quick kind of few seconds. So you want to see those numbers pop out, and that's a really easy way of making it clear and making it pop out. So I'm gonna kind of use my star up here as my feature, because that was
That's good.
a really good way of doing it. So yeah, I am conscious about time. So hopefully that's kind of giving you a bit more of an interesting idea. I have got the original copy down here, so you can see already it's starting to look a little bit more engaging and exciting. And that's just what we've done in about kind of 10 to 15 minutes. So, you know, you can really quickly make it look a lot more interesting, and things like that. We will, like I say, share a bit more, but we've just got a couple more slides to go through. If it wants to load. It's working overtime today. Bear with us.
Thanks for all the love with the poster, everyone.
Oh, it's gone back to the...
Oh, Zoe said she didn't know about the graphs bit on Canva.
Ah, yes.
I'm
There's
glad.
there's still loads of features that I don't know about as well.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff. We're constantly kind of, someone will find something and share it in the team, and then I'm just trying to scroll down. I don't know why this has gone back this way, but there we go.
Good old technology.
Yeah. Right, I think we were...
Why was it gone white?
I don't know why. Everything's coming in slowly.
We're doing too much.
Having a think. It's time for lunch, that's why.
There we go. That's the one.
Okay. I'm just trying to get my thingies frozen as well, my notes.
Oh dear.
Hang on. Sorry, everyone.
I think you can just read from the slide.
There we go. Right. There we go. Right, so we do just have a little kind of checklist as well. Alignment is something that we're really anal about. I suppose a lot of people in the team will be, in my team will be like, yes, Addy is. But I just think it makes everything look so much neater. There are a lot of things in Canva to kind of help you do that. Also, don't go too close to the edge. You've got to think about when people print these out as well. We've had people print them out and they've kind of cropped bits off as well. And then similar things to what Nikki said, kind of keep your fonts consistent, stick to a colour scheme. We kind of have 4 core colours that we use, and although they're bright, they're part of our logo, and we don't tend to stray too much from that. Use images and charts as much as you can rather than words, or at least make the words look a little bit more exciting, like you were sort of saying with the speech bubbles and stuff. If you start going with then a kind of theme, stick with that. You know, don't have photos of biscuits and then graphics of biscuits. If you're going down the graphic route, stay that route kind of thing. And then consider the 3 aims as well. So you've got your aim, your audience, and your appearance, which touches on what Nikki was talking about earlier as well. And then proofread. Even when you think you've proofread something and I think it's perfect, I send it out to my team and there's always another 2 or 3 things that people spot. So utilize your team as well. And then PDSA, we're improvement people. So, you know, always take those few goes to getting it right as well.
Okay, and then finally, we were asked to talk about the benefits of sharing our posters. So one of the key things for us was visibility. So we were told by one of our board members that we weren't visible as a team, and hardly anyone in the trust knew that we existed. And we were quite shocked, as we thought we'd been doing really well at sending out communications and running training sessions. But it turned out that we did need to make more effort to reach a wider audience. And being shortlisted and even winning competitions has really helped to raise our profile, and more importantly, the profile of QI in general across the trust. So our comms team loves it when our work's recognised externally, so they're happy to share the good news in our trust newsletters on the internet site. And posters and competitions are great for getting the teams the recognition that they deserve for all of their hard work that they put in. And one of the really obvious benefits is spreading good practice, which can inspire others to try QI in their own areas. Posters help with collaboration. They can open the door to partnerships with other teams or other organisations, and they're really good for networking and getting conversations started at events and conferences. And the benefit of simply producing a poster is that it helps your own learning and it can consolidate your thinking. And it helps to get feedback during that process, and a bit of constructive criticism on your poster can kind of help you work out how to make your project even stronger. Posters help with sustainability because you've got everything concisely documented, so it makes it easier to build on that work later. And they're a great way to influence others and raise the profile of a specific issue. One of our board members always says the data doesn't lie, so we always put it, front and centre, big, bold, so people can't ignore it. And if you can get your posters right, they can not only sort of be winners, but they can sort of be a platform for change for teams and across trusts and beyond. So I think we've got a few links that Addie's going to post in. Thank you for joining us today. I hope it was helpful. We've got some links for Canva colour palettes that kind of show you which colours go together. There's some links for training. So we've got bite-sized videos that Canva provides that are really, really helpful, and also how to register. So you can do non-profit registration, so you can get a free pro account if you're an NHS trust. And then also if you're able to scan the QR code, and I think Addie's going to put the link in as well to feedback on today's session. And we've got a couple of minutes for questions if there's anything that anybody wants to ask.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. I want to thank Sarah and Addie because I found that a really fascinating presentation. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, have a really, I hope you've had a good week, and I hope that you go on and use some of the stuff you've learned and put it into action, because that's when it counts. It's great to have these webinars. It's great to see what great things are, but actually it only counts when we do it. And we use it to improve ourselves and improve things for other people as well. So thank you for being part of this.